Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Students, today our topic is unit number 3, a polar explorer, and it's a story of one of the explorer, the person who discover things, places, and anything. So explorer means a person who discovers something new. It's Roald Amundsen, who was born in Norway in 1872. As a child, he read about famous British explorer. He joined as many sports teams, and he could and slept with his windows wide open despite the freezing cold Norwegian winters, so that he would be fit, strong, and ready if he got the chance to be an explorer. Amundsen's family worked in the shipping industry, but his mother wanted him to avoid the dangers of life at sea, so she encouraged him to be a doctor. He obeyed his mother's wishes while continuing to read about explorers. When he was 21 years old, his mother died. Amundsen left university and began his life as an explorer. Now, it's a story of a person who belongs to Norway. His name is Roald Amundsen, and he was very much fond of British explorers. Maybe at that time, the stories of British scientists, even scientists are explorers because they discover new things. So he was very much inspired by the British people, who were very much famous about their discoveries. And this thing made him feel, or he had this wish, that he can also be an explorer, so that he can be famous and a known personality in the world, and that he can discover something. Now, for this, when he wanted to be an explorer, when he grows up, he wanted to be an explorer, a scientist. What he did, like what changes he made in his life, he joined many sports. A sportsman is very much careful about his body, and the sport person take care of their diet and their exercise. Why? To keep themselves fit and ready for all the time. Because if you want to be a good player, you have to be fit. Physically, you have to be fit, and you have to be very healthy, and you are very much conscious about your diet and your exercise and all that. So he joined many sports and teams, and what he did next was, while sleeping, he used to open the windows wide open. It says that Norwegian winters, it means that Norway is a cold place, but he used to open the windows all night, and sometimes it was freezing temperature. But why he did this? He did this to make himself ready in difficult situations. We humans can't work when the weather is hot, and we are reluctant to go out if the weather is too cold, because we didn't give this practice to our body, that if the situation is such that the weather is hot, how to handle it, and if the weather is very cold, what to do with it. So he was actually preparing himself. I can over here compare him with the people of army. Must have noticed the army people are very strong, and he was actually making himself strong, because his aim was that in future he will be an explorer, and for that he will travel, he will face difficult situations, and he wanted to be ready mentally and physically for it, how to handle the situation if it is not favorable condition. So it says that it would be fit, strong and ready if he got the chance to be an explorer. Amundsen family worked in the shipping industry. Shipping industry are those ships which transport goods through sea. So his family business was that they has this shipping industry, but his mother, all the mothers are very much concerned about their kids, and they try to keep the kids away from such things which they think can be dangerous for their kids. So she motivated and tried to make the mind of the child towards medical field, and she says that my wish is that you become a doctor. And he obeyed his mother wish and continued and focused on his studies. But he had this thing, he used to read about explorers because this was his wish, this was his aim. So he used to read about them, but he followed the wish of the mother, and he just focused on his studies. What happened that when Amundsen was 21 years old, his mother died. And when the mother died, nobody was there to take care or to tell him that don't go or don't do this or that, or it can be harmful or it can be dangerous for you. Then it was his life, and then he decided that he wants to be an explorer, and his life began as an explorer after that. Some of the Amundsen's achievement. Now, there are 4 achievements mentioned in this. It says he was the first to pass through the Northwest Ocean. Now, he was the very first person who passed through the Northwest Passage in the Arctic Ocean. Now, Arctic Ocean is very cold, extremely cold. In minus degree, it's freezing in minus. And even if you watch them on Discovery Channel or any of those channels which show these kinds of things and they talk about all these things, so you will see that it's not water, it's all ice and it's freezing all the time. What was his second achievement? He was in the first expedition to reach the South Pole on 14 December 1911. Now what happened? Expedition means Mohim. Mohim is a military affair, or it is something very confidential, and it is very organized and systematic and all that. So his very one of the achievement was that he once went to the Northwest Passage in the Arctic Ocean, and the second was that he went to the South Pole. So North and South are completely two opposite, and both of them are very cold. And it happened in 14 December 1911. In 1926, he led a successful expedition to the North Pole. The most successful journey, Mohim, or that plan of his was that he reached North Pole. He is recognized as the first person to have reached both poles. Many people must have tried this, but it is said that Amundsen was the one that who reached both the poles, the north and the south. In early expedition, Amundsen was part of the crew. He watched, listened, and learned some useful skill. Once on a trip trapped in ice, he observed how the doctor's hunting skills provided the crew with fresh meat and kept them free from scurvy. Scurvy is a disease caused by the lack of vitamin C. It can lead to illness, the loss of teeth, and death from bleeding. Now what happened that in his early expeditions, his early journeys, when he started exploring, he was with crews. They used to travel in groups. They were in troops, and in the beginning he watched people, he actually observed them, and he used to listen to the people. And why? Because he was trying to learn all these things, the useful skills because if you are traveling to a north or a south pole, and when it is extremely cold, it is very obvious that you will face difficult situations. So he was learning the skills how to tackle with the difficult situations and how to go through all this. Like, he was fond of adventures. It says that once what happened, that he observed someone that a ship was trapped in ice, and the people were there. It was complete cold, and it says that the doctors were there, and he was watching them, that how they were providing the fresh meat. You must have noticed in this Discovery Channel and all those videos and all those documentaries that the people eat fresh meat. You must have seen, I must times. It says that fresh meat was given to the people to secure them from one of the disease which is called scurvy, and that is caused by the lack, by the deficiency of vitamin C. And if you have a deficiency of vitamin C, it says that it will lead to illness. You can lose your teeth, and when you lose your teeth, continuous bleeding will be there in your gums, and when it is continuous bleeding, it may cause death. So it was his early life when he was traveling in groups and troops and all that, and he was observing everything. He was learning the new skills, the useful skills which can be applied in difficult situation. Page number 28. When he was 28 years old, Amundsen became the leader of expedition with his own ship, Joa, whatever it. I always tell my students that the words given over here, it doesn't matter how you pronounce them. It can be Joa, it can be Jao, it can, but the G is silent, it's J sound. The ship is still on display at the Fram Museum in Oslo. Now, when he was 28 years old, Amundsen became the leader. He was ready to guide or to give direction to the people. Now he had his own ship, his own group, and he was a leader, and he was ready to lead it. Now that ship is even today present in one of the museum which is in Oslo. From 1903 to 1906, Amundsen took a crew of 6 men on Jao on an expedition to find a route through the Northwest Passage. The Northwest Passage is the name of the sea route through the Arctic Ocean from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Due to the very cold temperatures, the area is frozen over most of the time. For a short while each year, the ice around the land in the north of Canada can break up enough to allow vessels through. Vessels, small ships. Jao was small enough to pass through these waters and over the shallow areas that would have wrecked bigger ships. During the winters, when the ship was frozen into ice, the crew watched the Inuit who lived there and picked up important Arctic survival skills, such as using dogs to travel by sledge. These were useful on later expedition to the North Pole. Amundsen also stocked up on furs to wear, which were much more warmer than woolen clothes he had. Now in this paragraph, it's the journey of Amundsen which is described in such a way that how he learned different things while he was on his journey and when he was exploring new places. So what were the useful things he learned? It says that it was between 1903 and 1906. So it were the entire map is given. You can imagine it or you can watch it, you can Google it as well. So it says that in this paragraph the writer is saying that his journeys help him out how to tackle with the, over here the word Inuit is used. Inuit are the people you must have seen in cartoons as well. Eskimos, those people who live there on those cold areas, and they wear those fur clothes, and they have these carriages of dogs and all that, and they live over there, and they know how to survive in that particular area. So it says that during his journeys he learned one thing, that how to tackle with the Eskimos, how to use dogs to travel by sledges, those carriages. And the very next thing he learned, that rather than wearing woolen clothes, he learned that fur of the animal fur was used as clothing for them to make them more warm. So during these 3 years he learned how to tackle with the people who are the local or native people of that Arctic Ocean or that Pacific Ocean. They're near people who are living, and how to use dogs to travel by sledge. And the third thing they learned, that instead of using woolen clothes, they can use fur that will keep them more warm. Getting to the North Pole was a challenge. First, Amundsen tried to go by ship, but it got stuck in ice. He had to think of another way to achieve his goal and decided to travel by plane. The first attempt in 1925 was dangerous and unsuccessful. Finally, in 1926, Amundsen made it to the North Pole. 3 other people claimed separately to have got to the North Pole before Amundsen, but all these have been disputed. Now, the most important thing is that the most challenging journey or the expedition was to travel to the North Pole. It says that he tried to go by ship, but it didn't go because it was stuck in the ice. Then they decided to travel by the plane. Now what happened, that the very first attempt they made by the plane was very dangerous, and it was unsuccessful. It can be dangerous because of the weather. It was very cold, and maybe the plane, for that you need a clear sky. Maybe the sky was not clear, so it was challenging and it was dangerous in that way. Finally, in 1926, Amundsen made it to the North Pole. Finally, in 1926, he reached and he claimed that yes, I am the one who reached to the North Pole. It says that 3 more people separately, alag se, they claim that they have tried and they reached the North Pole, but it is disputed because nobody accepts that claim. Now what happens on page number 29, it says, Amundsen's skills and preservations made him the first person to be able to claim that he had been to both poles. He said that his success came from proper preparation and having the appropriate equipment. He said, victory awaits him who has everything in order. Amundsen wrote about his experiences in his autobiography, My Life as an Explorer. Now it says that Amundsen's skills and determination made him the first person to claim that he reached to the North Pole. And why, or it, both the poles instead, it is mentioned that he has been able to claim that he is the first person to reach both the poles. And he says why it happened, like the success. What is the reason behind that success? Amundsen, in his one of the autobiography, the book which he wrote about himself, his life, his experiences, that My Life as an Explorer, in that he mentioned that success is only possible, victory waits him who has everything in order. It means that you will succeed if you have everything in order, if your life is in discipline, if everything is organized, it is in systematic way, if you are prepared prepared for all kind of situation, and if you know how to tackle the difficult situations, if you are in trouble, how to get out of it, so a person will no doubt be successful if he is ordered, if he is disciplined. Book page number 29. Now we are discussing that Amundsen says in his autobiography that success is possible if you are skilled, if you know how to tackle difficult situation, if you are ready, and if you are organized and you do things in a systematic way. If your life is disciplined, no doubt you will be successful. Now this one part is actually from his autobiography. It is his life story, and he is over here sharing one of his experience, how he communicated with those Eskimos who were there while they were not speaking to each other because they don't understand each other language. But he's telling us how wisely he tackled the situation. One day, two of the boys and I were standing on the deck when one of them exclaimed, "There is a caribou." He pointed to a small black object just on the skyline of one of the encircling hills. The other man, who had the best vision of the three, looked steadfastly at the black object for a moment and then turned to his companion and said, "That caribou walks on two legs." Sure enough, close scrutiny confirmed his quick perception that this was not a caribou but an Eskimo. Some other two-leg caribou joined the first until 5 figures were outlined against the sky. Then they advanced toward us in a body. I sent the two boys for their rifles, and then the three of us advanced to meet them. I was in the lead, and behind me came my little army of two as the Eskimos neared us. We could see they were all armed with bows and arrows. Now, Amundsen is saying that one day I had just two boys with me and I myself. We were 3 people, and we were at a place where we could see very small dot, just that we can figure out that there is someone. That they were saying that it was a caribou. Caribou is the do you know what are reindeers? One is deers and the other are reindeers, the wild one. You must have seen in cartoons. They always show those reindeers who are used in the frozen or the most cold areas. And with that, those carriages are, especially when we watch those Christmas, that old man, I forgot his name. Those who travel on it and with the carriage and all this. Well, if I remember, I'll point it out. Right now, it's not coming to my mind. So it says that they thought that they were the deers with the carriage. But one of them had a very clear vision. He said that if it is a reindeer or a deer, it would have 4 legs. But he could see 2 legs. It's on 2 foot. So Amundsen say that when we noticed that they were not deers, they were actually the Eskimos, the people who live over there in these poles, the local people. You must have seen in the Discovery Channel and in cartoons as well, they wear those fur clothes and they are packed very tightly, and they most of the time eat the fresh meat. So it says that when he saw them and he informed me and we were looking at it, and when we figured it out, they were actually 4 to 5 people and they were coming towards us. So he says that I told the army of my 2 boys that take your rifles, the weapon they were having for their protection, and it says that I remember the name Santa Claus. Santa Claus travel on those reindeers and all that. Yes, it is Santa Claus. Okay. Now what happened that when they figure it out that they were 4 to 5 men and they were coming towards them, so they got ready with their weapon, with their rifles, and it says that I lead them and I saw that they were coming near to us. They noticed that even the Eskimos were having arrows and bows with which they tried to hit sound. Now when they saw that they were 3 and they were 5 people, now both of them saw each other. Amundsen is sharing his experience. Remember that they were on the poles and it was extremely cold, and he's telling how they tackle in the difficult situation. So he says that when I saw that they were also armed, they were having those arrows and bows with them, and we were also ready with our rifles and all weapons with us. We were ready to come in front of each other. Now what happened, this began to look like a ticklish situation, a difficult situation to tackle. We had no way of knowing whether their intentions were friendly or hostile. Now they are coming towards each other, but they are not aware whether they are friendly people or they are coming to kill them. They are hostile or are they their enemies or what? They are not aware of it. But they says that we were trying to reach each other, and we don't know the intention that those peoples are friendly people or not, or what can happen next. Certainly they were equipped for war. However, there was nothing to do but meet them face to face. Amundsen says over here that I didn't have any other choice rather than killing them, and I don't know the intention, that why are they coming to us, what is their mind, what is their plan. So he says the only option I had to meet them face to face and talk to them. The two parties proceed to within about 15 paces and then halted, stopped. I then turned to my army and instructed them ostentatiously to throw their rifles on the ground. I then turned to the Eskimos. Their leader, seeing this pacific move, imitated it by turning to his followers and uttering a command. They obeyed by throwing their bows and arrows on the ground. I was unarmed and advanced towards them. Now what happened? That once they got near to each other, both of them got stopped. The wise decision over here taken by Amundsen is that he stopped. He told the two people who were at his back with the rifles and all weapon, he told them to drop the weapon, put it on the ground, and actually he was trying to give an expression that we are not here to hurt you or to harm you. So when the Eskimos saw this thing, even he imitated the same. He followed the same. That he also turned to his army and he told them to drop the bows and the arrows on the ground, and it showed their intention as well, that they were not there for war. Maybe they wanted to say something, they wanted to communicate with each other in a friendly environment. The Eskimo leader also came out alone. Now what happened, that Amundsen told the two people to stand here, I'll go and I'll talk to them. Same did by the Eskimos. He stopped the rest of the people and the leader came forward to talk to each other. It is remarkable how accurately two men can communicate who do not speak a word of a common language and whose people experience of life seems utterly separated from each other. Expression of the fact, nods and shakes of the head, gestures and tones of the voice convey meaning with astonishing accuracy. By these means, I quickly convinced the Eskimo leader that I wished to be his friend, and he reciprocated my wish. Soon we were all friendly, and I invited them down to our ship. In this paragraph, Amundsen is saying that it was for the first time that he was communicating with someone when they were not using or they were taking help of words. They were communicating with each other with facial expression, with nods. When you move your head up and down is nods, nodding, it is called nodding, with shakes, with the head, with the gestures, with the emotion and all the expression on your face. So he said it was for the first time that both of us couldn't communicate with each other while speaking because none of us understand each other language. But with the shaking of hands, with the facial expression, with nodding, with gesture, with the attitude, with the body language, they were trying to communicate each other. They shake their hands, they become friends, and Amundsen invited them to their ship. In June 1928, aged 55, Amundsen was traveling in a plane on a rescue mission when it disappeared. Amundsen and the rest of the crew were never seen again. Now what happened, that it says that in 1928, Amundsen was 55 years old and he was traveling in a plane and he was on a rescue mission. He was rescuing someone. He was trying to take out someone from the difficult situation. But that plane disappeared completely and nobody is aware of it, that what happened to it and where is it gone. And it says that after that, nobody has seen Amundsen and his crew. So this is the story of Amundsen life. And I hope I've done justice to the chapter and everything is clear. Thank you so much for paying attention.